everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk. My name is John, and today we're going to be talking about the 2023 Disney film, Haunted Mansion. Not to be confused with the 2003 Disney film, The Haunted Mansion. Both films, though, are based on the famous Disney ride, The Haunted Mansion. This time, the film is directed by Justin Simien, who you guys might know as the director of the film Dear White People or Bad Hair, and he's also the show creator of the Netflix series Dear White People. So this is his third directorial feature. It's written by Katie DePaul, and this one's coming into a very crowded marketplace, and it's going into theaters, and it's going to have a lot of competition, and for a film that has a budget of about $157 million, which does show on the screen, the hope is that this movie can do really well and get a really good word of mouth and have a great time at the theaters for families, because there really aren't much films out there for families. But unfortunately, I have to report to you guys that this film is just alright. It's not offensive or anything, but it does feel like a movie that would have gone directly to Disney Plus. It's really just there to sell the Haunted Mansion ride, it feels like. You know, and it really gets lost in that sense, because it does have some really good emotional moments and actually some really good acting. The movie is led by Lakeith Stanfield, who at the very beginning of this movie suffers a tragedy. He himself is basically an astrophysicist, but he uses that to create lenses for cameras. He's trying to create a camera lens that could see beyond our plane of existence. But because he's suffered such a great loss in his life, he's down in his luck, and now he's just leading a paranormal tour through New Orleans, isn't really happy with his existence in life, feels like he has no purpose anymore. He's grieving. He's going through a really hard time right now. He just really is down on his luck. He has nothing to live for. And at the very same time, Rosario Dawson, who's a single mother, moves into this mansion with her son, and they quickly find out that it's haunted. Then they get a hold of Owen Wilson, who's a priest, and he comes in and tries an exorcism. That doesn't work, so he gets a hold of Lakeith Stanfield and says, come on, you know what? Use that camera you got. Come take some pictures, and let's figure out what the hell's going on in this mansion. The two of them, though, they need some help from some other people. One of them is a professor played by Danny DeVito. Another is a medium played by Tiffany Haddish. And the four of them go by the Dream Team. That's what Owen Wilson calls them. The four of them are going to figure out what's going on in this mansion, and they're going to help Rosario Dawson and her son get out of this unscathed. And that's basically what our movie is about. It's dealing with some serious issues like grief and death, which might not feel like something that's there for kids, but they do actually a pretty good job of tackling that and making the movie feel lighthearted enough. You know, kind of what Disney has always done. They've always kind of tackled subjects like death and grief in a pretty good way to make kids feel comfortable with it, and I think they do that again here. The problem with this movie is that it just feels so generic. Everything about it. The cinematography feels like the same Disney cinematography we've been seeing for years. If you saw Hocus Pocus 2 last year, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It just doesn't feel real, and that's one of my biggest flaws with this movie. You know, the actors turn in good enough performances. Doesn't feel like they have a lot to work with. Lakeith Stanfield is one of my favorite working actors right now. He's done some phenomenal work. I loved him on the show Atlanta, Short Term 12. A couple years ago in Judas and the Black Messiah, he gave a career best performance, so it is cool to see him get a leading role in a Disney film, which, you know, he probably got paid pretty well for it, so I'm happy for him in that sense, but I just feel like there's more for him out there. Same thing with Rosario Dawson. Rosario Dawson is one of the best actresses we've ever had, and she's just so underappreciated. Early in her career with movies like Kids and The 25th Hour, and then as she got to Clerks 2, and then even recently in Clerks 3, you know, she is a great actress. She's still working today in a lot of stuff. She's coming up with her show Ahsoka, so she is in the Disney system, so I understand why she's in this movie. It just feels like there is more for her to do than just to do kind of a generic role like this. Owen Wilson does bring the comedy performance in this, and so I'll admit he got some laughs out of me where I can't complain. So he brought his own sense of humor to the table, which I did think helped the movie. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that I didn't laugh a couple times at some of his jokes, but really that's all he felt like he brought to the table. Danny DeVito seemed like he was having a good time though, so I have no complaints about that. You know, Danny DeVito is a national treasure, so to see him pop up in this, I'm always happy. I mean, that's Frank Reynolds, that's Vincent from Twins, so I'm always happy to see him pop up on the screen, and at least it didn't seem like he was phoning it in. But the movie just seems very uneven, and that's one of the issues that this movie is facing. It just at some points feels like it's there to sell Disney products, and it feels very bland and plain. You know, the horror stuff doesn't exactly always work because we know we have to blend it with very colorful CGI, which I don't mind. It wasn't that bad, and if you're ever going to use CGI, this is the kind of movie for it. But it all feels just so bland. It feels like there should be more to it. It always just feels a little bit empty. It feels like a Disney Plus movie where it doesn't feel like something that needs to be seen in theaters. It feels more like something that you can watch at home, have a good time, because it's just a very average film. There's not much that you're going to take away from this. This is a movie that you're going to watch, maybe have a good couple of laughs, enjoy it with the family, and that's the one thing though. It's definitely a movie more for kids, and I feel like I'm not the target audience for that. So if you do have a family and you want to take your kids to the movies, maybe this is the kind of movie that gets them into horror, because there are a lot of good horror elements. I just feel like it's missing something. Everything in this movie always just feels like there's a piece missing to that puzzle. And unfortunately, I feel like it's just not a movie I can highly recommend because of that. I feel like it's just something that's very average, and I'm going to give this a pretty average score. So if I was going to give this a score of 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a pretty average 5 out of 10. If you're going to the theaters this weekend and you're looking for something to watch, if you have a family, maybe check this one out. You might enjoy it a little bit more than me. But if you have the options and you want to go see Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Oppenheimer, or Barbie, I would say all three of those movies are a better option than this one. But if you have a family, you have a couple kids, and you're looking for something to take the whole family to, this is one that's also no harm, no foul. It's not something you're going to walk out of and feel like you didn't get your money's worth, because I feel like definitely kids and teenagers, they will have a good time with this one. But I'm curious, what do you guys think of Haunted Mansion? Will you be checking this out this weekend? What'd you think of the 2003 version of this film? Let me know in the comment section below. And then while you guys are down there, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and then after you're done doing all of that, maybe go out in those streets and tell your friends about us. We'll be seeing you around.